live. Hey, Sharon, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. I'm, hanging out. It's kind of hot.
Yeah, I love the poster behind you. It's the five speeches. That was such a good film. I
I
think
feel
it's
like,
so
oh, there you go.
yeah. And quick question. This is just me forgetting, but did was Coleman Domingo like you worked with him on a series, right? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I worked with him on it was an AMC series called You Are Here. So
Yeah,
yeah, and that was
yeah.
kind of revisiting his like roots in different cities.
That's so cool because he was in Chicago a couple days ago for getting an award for Sing Sing and through the Chicago International Film Fest. So I actually got to see him. And
Nice.
then I posted something and he posted it on his stories. And I
Oh,
was
nice.
like, Coleman, that's so exciting. But anyways, we're here to talk about your new project, Fighting Giants, which
Mhm.
I think is so amazing that you are going into the narrative world and because of this passion project. So, could you just kind of talk a little bit about the inspiration for this project?
Sure. So Fighting Giants is inspired by a true story. So it's actually based on a trip that I took with my mother a couple of years ago to find my sister in Freetown, Sierra Leone, who went missing. And so I didn't actually know I was going to make this a project, but after some time, I was just like, I need to express this in some capacity. And then it turned into a film. It was actually never going to be a short film. I started writing it as a feature, and a friend was just like, "Why are you writing this as a feature? Why don't you just make a?"
Yeah. Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, "You're right. Okay, fine." And so
Yeah.
I made the short film.
Yes, and I love that. And we're talking about this film because you've already shot it and now you're in the fundraising process for post-production, right? So
Yes.
you are looking for fundraising like 10K. That's the ask through the Seed and Spark. Yeah.
Yeah, through
So
Seed and Spark. And just today, we reached 70%.
what?
So
Oh my
yeah.
God. I
So
looked
I'm
this
like,
morning, it was 60. That's amazing.
so I'm like,
Wow.
please, let's push us to,
Yeah, the
120% if we
100,
can.
past 100, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. And yeah, we'll have everything linked in the feature and below on the YouTube. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about your, because this is a narrative film and you usually do documentary work. I how was it casting? Like working with actors, like how was that process for you finding your actors? And I love that you used all cast and crews from Sierra Leone. And can you talk about that process and maybe talk about working with Emma Defon and Mariama
Khadijah.
Kalita? Okay, yes, that. And
Mhm.
so can you talk about that process?
Yeah. So I feel like it was pretty seamless in the sense of like, well, I knew what I was looking for. And
Mhm.
also I feel like in documentary, you're also often casting.
Mm,
So it was
mm,
very similar in that sense. But what made it different was there's a very the pool of actors in Sierra Leone isn't very large or in Freetown.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so I was trying to look for a specific person, especially a person in who was Sierra Leonean in Freetown who didn't have an accent. To play kind of like my character as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was kind of just, it's a very well-connected country in the sense I feel like everyone kind of knows everyone. So
Mm.
I was texting friends and texting people, hey, do you know of someone who could play this role? Do you know of someone who could play that role? And Emma Dyfan is actually, she's been in a lot of films in Freetown.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, and so she's kind of like an icon in that regard. And so it was really interesting to have her star in this. And then Mariama Khadija, it's her first film. She hasn't acted before.
Mm.
So
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was very interesting for me because it's hard. I feel like with a doc, um, you don't have to tell people how to feel. They'll just, it's whatever it is, the
Right.
reality. Obviously, it is what it is, and that's what you get. You can pull things from people, which is
Hmm.
very similar. You can pull things from actors. But I think with this short, I really wanted to spend a lot of time for the actors to understand the viewpoints of these characters and where they were coming from so they can really relate. And that was took a little bit more effort because of cultural differences as well. In the
Mm-hmm.
script, the Abby is the younger lead. She talks back a lot. And I feel like culturally that's very like that would never happen. Why would that happen?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, in this relationship, that happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so it was just a switching of mindsets and just explaining kind of the cultural differences and really, really elaborating on just like the motives and where these characters were coming from.
Hmm.
And the whole cast, and also I'm very big on not faking accents. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want anyone in this film who does not have a Sierra Leonean accent, please. Um,
Right. Don't try.
yeah, don't even try. So the rest of the crew of the supporting cast and everyone are Sierra Leoneans from Sierra Leone. So
Oh, that's so great. And so this is so fascinating to me because this is such a personal story for you. And I almost want to be like, you kind of set it up like this is the inspiration, but I'm like, what actually happened? But I'm sure that'll unfold in the film, so I don't know if you want to get too into it. But I feel like, how was it for you with this being such a personal story and like directing people to act out that story and kind of keeping like a distance a little as a director? Was that a difficult process for you?
yeah, it was harrowing.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah.
It was well, I think firstly I was more concerned with like, okay, how do I keep this production kind of like safe because I'm being
Yeah.
critical of a lot of things. I'm talking about something that was known within the country and I didn't want the wrong attention on the film. I just
Mhm.
wanted a smooth kind of like production.
Yeah.
So a lot of the cast, I didn't even tell the cast that this was inspired by my story.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I just,
Okay.
yeah, I kept that under wraps. I feel like by the like second to last or last day of shooting, people could kind of figure it out. But I just felt like
Mm-hmm.
it was easier if
Hmm.
um, people just thought they knew the story that it was inspired by, but they didn't
Yeah.
know that I was the sister.
Wow. That
Yeah.
must have been difficult to not reveal that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just, if it was brought up, I would be like, yeah, that's what it's based on. I would just like keep it moving.
Right. I mean, I guess since you have a job to do, you have to like compartmentalize a little bit.
Oh,
So,
it definitely was
yeah.
compartmentalizing a lot. But it was actually it was the first time I was back since, where the story actually took place, like
Mm,
the time frame. It was the first time I
yeah.
was back. And so it was a very different Sierra Leone as well, because a few months prior, there was an attempted coup. There was more of like
Mm,
military presence around. Things had gotten more expensive. And so it was a very different Sierra Leone that I was used to. And
mm.
so that took adjusting as well, but it was also the first time I was back without family. So I went by myself.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there was just a lot of different things that I had to like kind of juggle mentally and emotionally, but also be like, okay, but I have a job to do here. And I need to
Mm-hmm.
get this done in like a specific time frames before I have to fly out. Um,
Yeah.
definitely like compartmentalizing has been the key word for the last couple of months because I've just been taking
Right.
and putting them aside just to like focus and get the job done. So it's actually very interesting now to talk about it and share it because
Yeah.
now I can address and kind of feel and think about all of the things that went into trying to create it. Whereas before, there was no room to really process.
Right. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine. That's why I'm like, you guys are amazing directors and people who can just like put things on the screen and to have all those different facets behind making this film. I'm just like, you must be like a superhuman. It's mind-boggling to
I
me.
think it's insanity a little bit.
It is, but it's like also worth it because you have like this mission and passion and you're really like doing something with it. And I guess a question I have is, what do you hope people see in this film? Yeah,
I'm I've been thinking about that a lot because I initially made it kind of for me, honestly. I wanted to just express myself in this way. And then eventually I realized, okay, well, I made it, so I'm gonna put it out there. So what do what do I actually want people to take from this?
yeah,
And I think a number of things. I really wanted to call attention to a lot of the just the corruption that we
hmm,
kind of accept because we're like, that's just the way things go.
yeah,
Um, and maybe bring faces to the people that type of situation affects. Because I think it's very easy to be like, well, these people are affected by this and this, and yeah, it's a thing. But when you
hmm,
actually put faces and voices and stories to people's actual situation, then you're like, oh, well, this is actually pretty serious. I think
yeah,
yeah, I think it's something we gloss over very often and even sometimes perpetuate because it a lot of people have a very it is what it is mentality. And so
hmm,
I'm trying to fight against that and speak up against
yeah,
we have
hmm,
to like, we have to say what's going on around us. And there's a lot of fear around that as well. But I'm hoping that with the boldness of this film and the boldness of me talking about it, that
hmm,
people will perhaps maybe be inspired to speak up about more things. And
yes,
also call attention to cases that affect Black women who are missing.
yes, hmm,
These cases, whether in the United States or Sierra Leone or in the UK, like Black women are just like those cases are 4 times as likely to stay open, and
hmm,
stay open longer. They're not as publicized, um, and they actually make up a large percentage of missing persons cases compared to the population size. And so
right.
it's something that we also need to talk about. There's just a lot of issues surrounding this that aren't just they're not specific to this story,
Hmm,
say. Like
hmm,
it's not the only story. This happens a lot. Uh,
right.
and we need to just start being like, why? Why
Yeah,
often? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I feel like recently I've been seeing that with like indigenous women that have been
Mhm.
taken just, the different stories. Like I just saw Fancy Dance and directed by Erica Tremblay and just like and these are things that are, usually when we see missing person films, it's like a blonde white girl, like and it
Mhm.
because and that's what the news focuses on
That's what the
too,
news focuses on. Yeah.
and it's like, hello, there's so
Yeah.
many other like Black women, indigenous women, Hispanic women that go missing and nobody even talks about it. And so the fact that you're doing this, I think, is so important. And I think this is a project that, I mean, I'm excited because, people are getting behind it. And I just, yeah. And then I guess we could talk a little bit about, the money that's coming in. You're working on like that's going to like the editing process and like getting it out there, marketing. Is that yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to a colorist, sound mix and design, an original score, also
Wow.
festival deliverables, and then
Hmm.
also an impact producing aspect of it because I'd like to raise money to hold screenings and kind of talk more about the causes of that are behind the film.
Yeah.
So that's where all that money is going, just to
Yeah.
and uplift it to like get it out in the world.
And impact producing it's so fascinating to me. I feel like it's something that I just discovered upon when I went to the New Orleans Film Festival last year. I don't know if you remember Flora from the panel we had with the producer panel, and she was in this group of women talking about impact producing, and I just that whole other big piece of it is huge, and it's like the life after the film, and like where
Yeah.
that goes. And that's like a whole thing. And I don't think a lot of people know about all the work that goes into impact producing. So,
No, I
yeah.
don't, yeah, I don't think a lot of people know how much work goes into filmmaking in general, but then
Yeah,
also,
in general, right.
but then also getting the film out there and marketing
Right.
distribution is just like a whole nother beast. And so, yeah, it definitely, in every stage of the process, there needs to just be so much support. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that I can rally up enough of it.
Oh, for sure. Yes, of course. And yes, I'm so excited that, Cinema Femme can be some kind of platform for this.
Yes.
Was there anything else you want to discuss maybe about like I don't know, something you learned from this process about yourself? Was this a therapeutic type of thing for you, or are you just like your passion is driving you to just like get it out there? Like, can you talk a little bit, touch on that?
So I think what's actually I'm trying to figure out like what it is I'm trying to say.
Right,
I
right.
think
Yeah.
it,
That was
I
a lot of questions at once. I'm sorry. I mean,
no, it's
basically,
totally fine.
what you're I mean, you're still in the beginning of the process. Like you're in the fundraising stage, but and you still have a long road to go. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I mean,
go
no,
ahead. Sorry.
I think, yeah, no, something just came to me as you were talking. I think what it confirmed for me is that um I'm a little bit nuts, but I do everything that I've put my mind to, I end up doing it. Because I've,
Yes,
in terms of shoju and cinema
yes,
and film, when I want to do something, I get it done. And so that
yes.
actually a bit of more confirmation of myself and validation of myself, where I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, you could do what you when it comes down to
Yeah,
you too.
yeah.
So
And
that's
can you
one
talk?
thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no,
Mhm.
you were gonna say no, I was just saying. So that's one thing that came to my head, but we were
Okay.
something.
Yeah, I was curious if you could talk a little bit about your organization because I think it's so great what you're doing with Cosima, right? Did I
That's
say it right? Yeah, Cosima. Sorry, I
no,
don't
that's
have it in front of me, but can you talk a little bit about that organization and what you're doing with it? Yeah,
sure. So it's a
yeah.
nonprofit organization that I founded to be a funding resource and a resource for career opportunities for creatives in Africa and African diaspora. So
Mhm.
what that means is that there's so far I have two grant funds. One
Awesome.
is for short films for Black film filmmakers. So you just have anywhere in the world, short film, 15 minutes, you can apply. You're
Mhm.
eligible. And so with that, I've funded 8 films so far, which is
Wow.
a short film. So yeah, that's really exciting. No, sorry, 7. The 8th film that I funded is a partnership with Bantu Film Festival in Botswana. And so that
Mm.
support screenwriters, female screenwriters in the country. And so there's like 2 amazing women that run one of the 2 film festivals in Botswana, Lesedi and
Wow.
Veronica. And so I teamed up with them to create this screenplay. And so we're in post for the production of it, of the short film. So 8 films either completed
Wow.
or on its way to be completed. And then
Yeah.
hopefully the next leg or phase that I'm trying to do is in-person screening. So these films are supported and kind of get their flowers. And it's also, these filmmakers are also exposed, like African
Mm.
filmmakers, Black female filmmakers are also like their work is out there. So people can't say, oh, I don't know any.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, but there's all
But
these.
look
So,
at me. Yeah, look at
yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah, that's so cool. And I feel like, we both are like just really passionate about what we do. And I think that that's a big part of the process and seeing how things evolve and get done. I mean, we're so close, like we got approved for the Secretary of State as a nonprofit. I
Mhm.
just I gotta turn in that IRS paperwork, but
Good.
yeah, that's happening this week. And I
Good.
got my bylaws done. I mean, there's so many
It's a
pieces,
lot.
but
It's a lot.
it's like it's getting done. Like
Hmm.
so, like I tried to fight it for so long. I was like, I gotta find an easier way to do this. Like somebody's gonna come sweep in and help
I
us,
know.
and then it's like, nope, I'm doing this on my own. But it's not just me,
We have each
obviously.
other.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the spirit and how the change you see happening, like
Mhm.
that is like enough to be like, okay, I will move the needle with this, and hopefully, you know I don't even necessarily think like, oh, this is like I just do it because I'm so
Yeah.
passionate about it. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think we share that in a way. And that's why I'm very excited about this project you're doing, Fighting Giants, and your
Yeah.
organization. And I'm just so happy I can, have this platform to elevate it. So yes.
Yes. And I appreciate it always. Like, always.
Yes, of course, of
Yeah.
course. So thank you for speaking with me. I'm going to get this up right away. So hopefully tomorrow I'll send you the link and it'll all be up. But yes, thank you for speaking with me, and I'm very excited to see the finished product. So this is
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah, very
Thank
cool.
you. Yay.
Yeah, okay. Have a
I
good
know. I do
evening.
that a lot.
I know. I've been doing that. I'm like, what is that?
I'm always clapping. Yeah. And
Sometimes
you're
I
like,
do
all right.
this, and I'm like, nobody does that anymore. And I'm like, no, but it's just you're excited, and
Yeah.
it's
I'm very, very excited.
Zoom
And it's,
Zoom
yeah.
applause.
Mhm.
So there you go. But yeah. So have a good evening, and I'm just excited. So
Cool. Thank you so much. All right.
yeah,
Well, we'll
no
talk soon.
problem. All right, see you.
Bye.
Bye.